Day 2 of the week is here. It's a Tuesday morning, and we're so glad every morning when we come your way and you allow us into your homes and onto your portable gadgets, be it your phone, tablet, phablet, whatever it is, your computer. We're grateful that you're connecting with us this morning. Be sure to stay with us all the way till 10 when Bernice and I hang our boots on this network for the day. But from us to you, we love you. Thank you for joining. So coming up this morning, it's quite the list we have for you. And in the course of the news review, if you're wondering, yes, I'm going to be getting into some of what Mr. President said yesterday in the Mepe area and what my take is on it. But you can expect more on Friday. For now, though, I'll be serving you the news shortly, right after which, in the news review, I'll be joined by Afil Moni. He is former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. And right after that, sports, as always, with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Then we get into one of the most potent problems in this country, galamsey. Scientists are warning of the possible presence of some poisonous metals, heavy metals, in some food crops and fish from mining-prone areas of the country. The Environmental Protection Agency found high concentrations of mercury in fish from the Tano River tested in 2022. Now, similar tests conducted in some leafy vegetables and herbs found they absorbed disturbing concentrations of heavy metals. And guess who ate them? You and I. We ate them. These are contained in the latest Hotline Trust Africa multimedia documentary, Poison for Gold, produced by Erastus Asaridonko. We'll have a conversation on this all-important matter, your health, my health, the health of future generations, with Dr. Abdul Wadud Momin. He is Senior Lecturer, School of Mines, University of Energy and Natural Resources. Together with, it's been a while since we had Elizabeth Va, Executive Director, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group, and Daryl Bosu, who is actually a Deputy Executive Director of Arosha, Ghana. And on that beat, I'll also take the conversation to somewhere in the western region where pristine water bodies, land, are also being infected by the plague of galamsey. But then we get into our second conversation for the day. Bernice Abubedu Lansa will be on that beat. And the spouses of heads of missions in Ghana and international organizations is getting ready to host its very first diplomatic fashion gala in efforts to support a range of local charities that benefit Ghanaians in urgent need. It comes off this Saturday, the 21st of October, at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, here in Accra. We'll be hearing from Naomi Mochizuki, spouse of the Japanese ambassador to Ghana and president of the Association of Spouses of Heads of Missions and International Organizations, together with Robert Owen Jones, spouse of the Australian High Commissioner to Ghana. They'll be joining us on that beat. And after that, you know how it gets. We'll be getting into the National Science and Math Quiz groove, and we've got the last of the quarterfinal contests. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We've got it all right here on the AM Show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I'll be right back serving you the news. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's get into the news now. And in our first story, we start with news with the story of a 53-year-old man who is among those displaced in the floods at Mepe. Paralyzed from the waist down, Charles Dika is seeking help from the authorities. He's unable to access the emergency medical center set up for flood victims at the St. Kizito Senior High School because he's lost his National Health Insurance Scheme card. Carlos Caloni has more on that story.
Senior High School, which is serving as one of the centers for the affected flood victims of Mepe. There are a number of people here, the aged, the sick, children, and all that. So we have Mr. Lebene, who is a 53-year-old man, to share his story with us at this particular safe haven. So how long have you been here?
5 days.
How did you even get here?
Oh, they just carried me with Aboboya to brought me here.
Who brought you here?
My sister, Stella Dika. She brought me here.
We see your health is not the best. Do you mind sharing with us what actually is wrong with you?
Yeah, actually, from my waist to my leg, I have a problem. I can't walk. I can't sit down. When I want to sit down, unless I make myself like this before they put the chair on me. That's all. After the chair, then that means I'm going to bed flatly. Up to how many hours? 6 hours, 5 hours. If I'm tired, then I can come like this again. That's all.
How long have you been in this situation, this condition?
Oh, 1 year, 6 months.
What really happened?
Oh, just my waist, coughing. I went to the hospital. I come back within 3 days' time. Then that's all. I can't walk again.
So now that you are here at the Safe Haven, what can you tell us? Have you received any help from the NADMO, the assembly, in terms of your condition? Have nurses come to look at you and attended to you and all that?
Actually, the nurses or the doctor, there's nobody. But actually, the NADMO or the government, when they brought the thing, we are a lot of printing, almost 6,000 people here. If you don't get, it's not my fault. So you also, you can brought your food from market or any place to eat.
Is that to say you did not get some?
Yeah, I'm not getting because I'm here. When the food come, they just run there. When you come, they say it's finished. There's nothing. Almost 3 days ago, about 53 people inside the room. They will give us 5 kilo on the rice, oil, tinapa, three tissue, 3 soup, and 1 cup. That's all. From 3 days, about 53 people in one room. So we are suffering.
All right. So earlier we heard from the DCE and NADMO. They told us that they are making arrangements for the sick and the aged, persons like you, so that nurses will attend to you here at the Safe Haven. Tell us if you've had any experience meeting any doctor or nurses here.
Nobody. I didn't see any nurse, doctor to come here. I hear that they just bring is it first aid at the last of the room there. They just come and tell us, but I don't have health insurance, so unless you pay money before they take care of you. But actually, I didn't went there.
Now, looking at the conditions here, mosquito bite and all that, share your experience with us in the night. What happens?
Mosquito there from 4:30 to 5. If you don't put the net, you can't. So actually, we have plenty. I was here. If the rain is coming to, unless I shift, they can eat this one. That's all. But the mosquito is not easy. It's not easy. So actually, this one is not for me to. Somebody help me. So I need the help for that mattress and then the nets, anything, and the pillow. Actually, my problem with the wheel, I can sit and go here and come back. It's sitting like this 24 hours. It's my problem. I have a problem.
Thank you so much for speaking to us here on Join You. So that's the story of 53-year-old man, Lebene, who has been here for about 5 days. He's paralyzed from the waist, and due to the situation, is unable to move to get some help as and when the NADMO officials come to their aid here to share, relief items to them. And
in our next story, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Lily Pemka, wants women to frequently check their breasts for lumps in order to identify any signs of breast cancer early and seek treatment. She says more than 50% of breast cancer patients die due to late reporting. Now, she made the call at a breast cancer awareness walk and the launch of NOFOFest in Accra.
Cancer is the most frequently diagnosed cancer among women globally, accounting for 12.5% of all new annual cancer cases worldwide. It is the most prevalent cancer in the world, with approximately 50% in developing countries such as Ghana. More than 50% of women who are diagnosed with the condition end up dying. Dr. Lily Pemka says it is due to late reporting.
So breast cancer in black women or women of African descent is disproportionately higher than you see in other populations, and also more aggressive. So the issue here is most cases in Ghana, in parts of West Africa, present late at the hospitals. So that contributes to the higher mortality rate that we see. So essentially the whole point of Nufo Festival is to appreciate breast, and that will encourage people to take care of them, and therefore, examine them. So when there are issues of, so that we can detect early, because the whole point of raising awareness is to ensure that their breast cancer is detected early for early treatment.
October has been set aside as Breast Cancer Month globally to raise awareness about breast cancer, promote early detection, support those affected by the disease, and raise funds for research, prevention, and treatment. Georgina, a breast cancer survivor, shared her story while advising women to take care of their breasts and also be aware of their breasts.
I had this unusual pain in my breast that I ignored. Till like 3 weeks. Then I felt the breast and I realized there was an unusual lump in there. Naturally, I didn't know it was breast cancer, or it could be breast cancer. So I resorted to self-medication for 3 months before I eventually went to the hospital. I had to do further investigations, and the reports came. There was still cancer in the conserved breast even after the chemotherapy. So I had to go on to have the whole breast removed. My advice is early detection and breast awareness. Let's be breast aware. If you know your breast, you'll be able to detect any abnormality in time. And if you detect the abnormality in time and you report to the hospital and you are confirmed to have breast cancer, once it is detected early, the costs you bear during treatment even is reduced. And of course, you may not even have to go through all that some of us went through.
The Nufo Fest campaign is an initiative by the West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, PEMCA Lab, and Little Cow Consulting. The year-long campaign seeks to raise awareness about breast cancer among students of the University of Ghana and also make them breast cancer ambassadors. Dean of Students at the University of Ghana, Professor Rosina Tremanting, bemoaned the increase in number of breast cancer cases among younger girls and further advised them to be mindful of activities that predispose them to breast cancer.
In the past, before you could hear that somebody had got breast cancer or any form of cancer, the person may be in their 60s or 70s. But now it's presenting in younger people, mainly because of the change of our diets, our behaviors. We don't walk much, we don't do much exercise. I'm the Dean of Students of this university. When I was a student, we walked to every lecture theater. Now the students go with shuttles, with Uber, with taxis, and so they are not doing much exercise. The kinds of food they are eating is different. They eat more processed foods. And so the cases of cancers are increasing, and so it is good to let them be aware of it right from this stage. So especially with the females, they can check their breasts whenever they are having their bath, whenever, so that it can be detected early, because survival rate is high when it is detected early.
Some of the participants of the awareness program spoke to Joy News.
Okay, so I'm here to raise breast cancer awareness. Breast cancer is one of the challenging issues that affects about 99% of women and about 1% being males. So as a result, I'm here to raise awareness for breast cancer in order for people to get an early screen for early detection to save more lives.
Let's talk education now, as the Ministry of Education says it is committed to supporting initiatives that envision a future where every Ghanaian child, irrespective of their socio-economic background, has access to quality education. It is currently running a partnership with Lead for Ghana, a non-profit group which has created a fellowship of volunteer teachers who will be deployed to 50 senior high schools across the country to augment the number of tutors training students in the areas of science, mathematics, English, and information technology. There's more in this report.
The Training Institute for Non-Profit Organization, Lead for Ghana, will deploy its newest cohort of fellows to 50 senior high schools across the nation to augment the number of students training to become tutors in the areas of science, mathematics, English, and information technology. Addressing journalists on the sidelines of an event to commission members of the fellowship, then advisor to the Minister of Education, Professor Mark Adom Asamoah, lauded the initiative while indicating the ministry's commitment towards the training program, which is in line with achieving quality education.
With Lead for Ghana, what we are doing with them is we have allowed them to bring in some graduate students who are being taught and taken through the various rudiments of teaching and learning. And the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education is supporting them through some of our collaborators. And one of such collaborators is TTEL. TTEL is dealing with funding from MasterCard Foundation, and it is helping us do training for those who will be teaching and leading our children in the schools.
To address the ongoing challenges, Lead for Ghana says it is implementing a holistic youth capacity development model which addresses and provides both short-term and long-term solutions that will proactively impact educational and student academic outcomes in pre-tertiary schools across the country. Daniel Doche is the Chief Executive Officer of Lead for Ghana.
What Lead for Ghana does is to recruit Ghana's best and brightest recent university graduates and young professionals, train them, and then deploy them to go and live for 2 years in rural communities to serve as teachers, but also to serve as community leaders. The reason we do this is because we want the next generation of leaders in this country to really understand the challenges within the educational ecosystem. So after the 2 years, when they start getting to leadership positions across all sectors in the country, the decisions they make and the policies they make would come from experience and not necessarily from theory.
The Ministry of Education says it is committed to supporting initiatives like Lead for Ghana. We envision a future where every Ghanaian child, irrespective of their socio-economic background, has access to quality education. With Lead for Ghana taking the helm in senior high schools, I am confident that we are several steps closer to realizing this dream. Karen Obing's report read to you.
Well, it's a wrap for the news, but before we get into the news review, we're going to leave you with the National Science and Math Quiz. Pope John Senior High and Minor Seminary is returning to winning ways after booking a seat in the semi-finals. The 2023 Eastern Regional Champions beat St. James Seminary and Ibri Presby SHS to make the historic return. Jacqueline Ansumayebwa caught up with the Dasibres of Pope John SHS.
Sacred heart of Jesus, we put our trust in you.
Well, I'm still here with Pope John Senior High School, and on the second day of the quarterfinal, they just made it to the semi-final. Just as you hear behind me, they are super excited. But I have one student I spoke to during the 1A stage. Share with me how you feel.
I'm overwhelmed. I mean, the Lord has done so much for us, bringing us here and taking us on to the next level, which is the quarterfinals, which is the semi-finals, sorry. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Are you too happy to speak?
Too happy to speak.
Now, tell me about El Regreso. Tell me more about it.
El Regreso means the comeback. So, the previous years, Pope John, we were not able to move ahead. But this year, we are coming back for the trophy. We are moving on.
Speaking before a contest, bragging, all those things are not necessary. So, I just wanted my boys to deliver. We just trust in God and hope for the best.
An old student here that I spoke to earlier. He was expressing so much confidence in his students. How are you feeling right now, knowing all that you said?
Highly elated. I am very much glad. In fact, well, I'm not even jubilating because we won over St. James, but just because we won. Yeah, because St. James is not a match.
Initially you said it, but moving forward, what are the expectations?
When it started, it was quite some way, but then we knew that regardless of what happens, we'll still sail through at the end of it all.
Were you scared at a point when it started?
I wasn't scared because
looking at the margin, it wasn't when it started.
It was like Jesus in the boat. He slept because he knew that there was a great outcome at the end of it all. Yes, so there's no, I didn't fear at all. Because
What should we expect from Pope John Seminary Senior High School moving forward? You are just a step away to the semis, then to the finale. And what should we expect from Pope John's? Will there be a comeback?
Of course, like I told you earlier on, this year we are actually taking the trophy. We are waiting for Eastern Region. It's been a while since Eastern Region we took the trophy home. But then this year we are actually taking. In fact, we are avenging. Today you realize that we came to avenge St. Peter's, right? Yes, from Eastern Region. So we are moving forward with that vigor, just like that. In fact,
this feels like a comeback because this is like the second time since 2001. It's been a very long time. How do you feel about this?
Semis, we are already at the semis.
Yeah, you are already at the semis, but this is the second time in so many years.
Okay, so you see, we set sail. Now, in fact, we are beginning from here, and right after here, it's like since 2017, we've been in the quarterfinals. We've always been going home in the quarterfinals. So now that we've gotten to the semis and we even get to the final, it's going to continue forever.
You heard from the Eastern Regional Champions, Pope John Seminary, qualifying to the semi-finals with some 48 points today in the second day of the quarter-final stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. We are right here at the Sarah Mensah Auditorium for the National Science and Maths Quiz. I am Jacqueline and Samaya Boa.
It's some 24 minutes to the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us here on Joy News. It's time for the news review, and I'll be introducing my guest to you shortly. But before we get into that, yesterday I was listening to another story of a young man, not even 40, who has prostate-related issues. I keep saying it, you don't want to get there. You don't want to be there and realize, oh, I've become a statistic. And that is why you ought to get yourself checked. If you're a woman, maybe there are things going on as far as your fertility is concerned, and you think, oh, I'm not seeing any signs, so everything is A-okay, only to find out someday, maybe when you're trying to give birth, that there have been many issues. Don't wait. Don't fall victim. Make your way to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and they are offering you screening services for prostate issues and fertility issues in women for free. So why not take advantage of it? You can locate them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Isiama Nzema. If you'd like to reach them on phone, which I seriously proffer you do, the lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease, but just the start of the newspaper review. Joining me, my senior man, former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afe Oboni. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure.
It's always beautiful, this part of my week, when you come into the studio.
Thank you.
I love it. And you know, the feel is different when you are virtually connecting with us and when you're here.
So person-to-person contact is.
Yeah. And who has been sewing your clothes, though?
A young guy in our church, Assemblies of God, End Time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing a marvelous job.
Thank you so much for the compliment.
What's his name? Or do you know the name of his...
His nickname is Oman.
Oman. At least we give a few shouts to Oman for doing a good job. Yeah. So right before we get into the papers, two issues I want you to look at. We spoke about the UTV incident. Not too soon after that, the political parties, in fact, another political party. And it's interesting. It's NDC, MPP. All that. They are the biggest parties. But that one too decided to show us Pepe. And then we had that female, journalist at City FM, City TV, assaulted. That's one. Then yesterday, you are much more of a senior citizen than I am. Some of us look up to people like you. Correct me if I'm wrong. when a president is reading the oath of allegiance to all of us, swearing in, I hear things like, and I'll be this and that to all manner of people and all of that. So yesterday, when I heard Mr. President, in the Volta region talking about if I were to pay attention to votes and stuff like that, I shouldn't even be here because, you people don't vote for me. And the way his references, Togbe, and you, and I found it disrespectful. I found it not dignified of the people, especially when the people are already crushed. Traumatized. Yeah. And the seed of politics germinated there. This is me. I don't know what you think on those two issues.
The president did caution against politicization of the whole disaster, but he came across as someone who rather doing politics. That's how I saw it, because he said the people in the area do not vote for him, and so in essence, I'm still wondering what informed the decision to raise this issue of people in the area, who are against his party and all that. I think he should have gone straight to announcing the relief measures he had for the people in that area instead of referring to politics. Maybe he said it in a joke just to serve as an icebreaker, but
did he
came across.
He went on to re-echo that someday they would vote for him and his party. I felt it was just out of, and sometimes I ask myself, really, do people script these things for him, or does he say them off the cuff? Because honestly, the number of people who reached out to me yesterday expressing angst at those words, and I could understand them. Honestly, when people reached out to me at first, I had a long day yesterday. I hadn't taken a look at it. And I told them, I doubt he said that. I'm sure it's... Then I went, so I came on our group page, followed, and then watched the video, and listened to the audio, and I was aghast. I was really, wow.
So I also listened with all consumer attention and tried to square the tone of the message and the substance of the message. So I came to the conclusion that the president shouldn't have raised the political issues. We all know that voter region is predominantly NDC. And as I said, the truth of the matter is not enough justification for saying it, even though it is true. What's the point in saying it and at that time?
And the City FM incident, the journalist?
NDC, many people have come to the conclusion. In fact, what happened at the NDC Greater Accra Regional incident has reinforced the perception that NDC and MPP are the same. This is the inevitable.
This one happened just a few days after we had been condemning, and the NDC had condemned the UTV Act.
NDC had condemned.
Can you imagine that?
Interesting.
In this instance, of course, the NDC also came out to condemn this, but you can't tell me that you're condemning something and someone else is doing the same thing within your party.
Interesting. So fate has a way of exposing the two parties. So we have a long way to go in punishing the perpetrators of attacks against journalists in their line of duty. And I also listened with disbelief the fines imposed on the thugs who invaded UTV.
Oh, the 2,400 or so. One person within the party will pay for them all.
Certainly, yes.
Like you're going to say, a slap on the wrist.
A slap on the wrist. So the hearts of evangelists of press freedom and apostles of democracy are bleeding profusely from what the court did. It again reinforces the perception that we are not serious in dealing surgically with this issue of attacks against journalists. And it's a democracy which suffers at the end of it all. You know, the media is ingrained in theory and rooted in practice that democracy is impossible without the media. And the Ghanaian media, whether you like it or not, are the oxygen of our democracy. So if our democracy strikes cause of appreciation worldwide, it's because the media have brought it this far. And then why do you tell your guns, the very people who get our democracy taken, and then ensuring that all others enjoy their fundamental human right? So an attack against journalists is not only an attack against the media, but also an attack against the very soul of this nation. So as we speak, the soul of this nation is still bleeding from the attacks perpetrated by the thugs who invaded UTV. So we are also watching. What to pan out of the thugs who invaded the NDC primaries at the party headquarters. The courts should come out, should show that they are also concerned, deeply concerned about attacks against it. I believe if the attacks had happened to lawyers or judges, the fines would have been different. So we expect any perpetrator of attack against journalists to be punished within the fullest extent possible under the ambit of the law.
Well, we are where we are. They would say the fourth estate, the bastion of our democracy and all of that, and then end up beating us. We have numerous examples within, right here. People who have been beaten, traumatized, people who have been beaten now have Latif Idrisu, my other colleague, Emmanuel Ante. You know, it's, and then we complain when our press freedom rankings dip. Anyway.
As for next,
and it's going to continue dipping. With all of this, it will continue dipping. Anyway, let's get into the papers. I have the Daily Graphic, the Finder newspaper, and the Economy Times. What do you have?
The
Ghanaian Times?
Yeah, Ghanaian Times.
I see the Daily Guide as well.
Yeah, Ghanaian Times, Daily Guide.
The New Crusading Guide.
New Crusading Guide.
Okay, so where are you starting from?
Of course, the story of the moment, the disaster in part of the Volta and Eastern regions. Certainly a catastrophe of unprecedented proportions. And we are told that 26,000 people have been displaced. NADBO has done everything within its capacity to settle a number of them.
With all its logistical constraints.
Yes, but we are told that as many as 20,000 are still yet to be.
6,000 have found somewhere to settle, but 20,000, that's like a drop in a bucket. That's like another 4 times the number.
4 times the number. And the president visited it, and as we said, he was in a limelight of the media, but he fell short of declaring a state of emergency, which has been a clarion call of so many people, including MP for Nongtong, Okujeto Ablakwa. I believe the declaration of a state of emergency would have given the states
because then that triggers certain other actions and possibilities.
But we are told that the Inter-Ministerial Committee will not end at distributing food items to the victims, but they will take a long look at how best to settle people in the low-lying areas so that the disaster will not visit them in the future. But we will watch and pray. We expect the media to keep this issue on the front burner and ensure and push officialdom to match their promises with action, nothing but action. And we also told that the nation has saved as much as 36 million cedis over after payroll audits. And this was the Ghanaian Times has headlined this on the front page. And yesterday, Sami Jemfi of NDC was as strident as ever in tearing to pieces the defense by the Attorney General on the illegal mining report by Professor Frimpong Boateng.
What do you think of it? Mention was made of Donald Ensua and certain things, and whether even if the substance wasn't enough to trigger certain court actions, whether the response of it's empty, it's nothing useful, and all of that was the way to go in a country that supposedly is fighting galamsey. What is your take?
I'm inclined to believe that political interest in this instance has overshadowed the need for justice. And anti-corruption agencies, activists will not be satisfied by the act of clearance, so to speak, by the Attorney General. And this again reinforces the perception that we are not serious in fighting corruption and fighting galamsey. The fight against galamsey is far from being won. We have a very long way to win the fight against galamsey, because we tackle it from the branch and not the root. And the root approach will entail dealing with the financiers, dealing with well-known people who invade forest areas, desecrate, feed fats on national resources, and then go scot-free because of their political leanings. So the
same way those who assaulted the UTV staff are getting a slap on the wrist. It's the same story.
Yeah, it's so disgraceful. So disgraceful. They're so disgraceful that
So what we are telling them is, you know what? You can do galamsey once you're a party member. There are ways of going about it. Or if you want to go and assault any journalists and all of that, batter them, do whatever. I don't know, maybe we're waiting for someone to lose some teeth or something. Or worse, get maimed before we do something.
Price. Ahmed Swale died. And 4 years on, no one has been charged, let alone prosecuted.
It's a disgrace.
On 2 occasions, His Excellency the President said emphatically that the killers of Ahmed Swale would be found. We were told some time ago by the police that 8 people had been arrested in connection with Ahmed Swale's murder. But nobody had been prosecuted. And again, this also is featured every year in the World Press Freedom Index report. Yeah. And so we shouldn't be surprised if once again, precipitately we decline on the league table of press free media systems in the world. And I don't know what should be done to unearth the killers of Ahmed Swale. We met the IGP about 2 years ago, and he did promise that, but he said a new unit had been created to tackle some of these unresolved issues. And 2 years down the line, nothing has happened. So again, we expect the media, an attack against one journalist is an attack against all journalists. So as you see, we are under siege. And we have weapons to fight back. So we expect the media to mobilize and then fight back the attacks against our perceived enemies, real and perceived enemies.
Anyway, any other stories you'd like to look at in there before I get into the daily graphic?
VRA assuring flood victims, and good news for Cecilia Japa. The other day she claimed that she was suffering from lack of funds deficiency. And OSP has rallied to her aid by defreezing 3 of her accounts. We have 5 of her accounts, where 3 are still under suspicion. So we'll see what will pan out. And Crusading Guide, MPP tags and a convicted fine for, again, this laughable court ruling. And so these are the main stories we have on the front pages of Daily Guide, Crusading Guide, and Bagbe News, Ghanaian Times.
All right. Anyway, so let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper. Budget won't increase public spending, that's according to Ken Oforiatta. Nation hosts First Africa Cinema Summit in November. Dam spillage, 26,000 displaced. President pledges relief support. And Utah calls for overhaul of accreditation regime. Kicks against 5 new universities. And there's payroll monitoring saves nation over 190 million Ghana cedis. 17 institutions in Accra waste 36.11 million in 5 months. So let's get into some of the details. We've spoken about the situation in the Volta region and the president's infamous comments. We'll leave it there. But let's get into bits about the economy and education. So I'll focus on pages 13 and 16. Budget won't increase public spending, okay? That's according to Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta. The government has given an assurance that it will restrict itself to budgeted expenditure, irrespective of 2024 being an electoral year. The Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, gave the assurance at a meeting in London yesterday with holders of Ghana's international bonds, said in spite of 2024 being an election year, or electoral year, the government will stay within the IMF-supported budget, which would be presented to Parliament later next month. 4 months after implementing the post-COVID-19 program for economic growth, backed IMF program, Ghana's economy is beginning to see some stability, with GDP growth averaging 3.1% in the first half of the year. Inflation, which reached a 22-year high of 54.1% in December 2022, has also declined to a 12-month low of 38.1% in September. These are the metrics that are used to measure, at least, whether there is progress. But the ordinary man will always tell you that if you go out there, the price of fish, the price of kenke, the price of everything is still, that's the problem with allowing your economy to go bonkers. Because when it does, prices never go down, really. So all these things that are being mentioned, macro level, they look good. But on the micro level, people are bleeding. I really don't see the difference, between when we're at 54.1% and now. The dollar may have slipped to 11 point something and be held constant from a high of about 16, 17. But still, the cost of getting anything in this country is absolutely inhibitive.
The fact is that our economy is still buffeted by cost of living crisis, bitingly bitter cost of living crisis. Even with IMF to our rescue, our economy is still on the ropes, and this is the reality. And as you said, as the mantra goes, forward ever, backward never, prices of goods and services, prices of basic goods and services do not come down, they always rise up. So, so this is not enough to bandy these figures, but what is important is the cost of living of the other Ghanaian, and many Ghanaians are really under economic pressures. So we need to focus our attention, sharpen our focus on this crisis, and not play to the gallery.
Well, let's get into some other stories. On that same page, payroll monitoring saves nation over 190 million Ghana cedis. And the public sector wage bill has seen a significant reduction since the commencement of the nationwide payroll monitoring exercise in April this year. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has stated. The CEO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Benjamin Arthur, at a press briefing in Accra yesterday, disclosed that data from the Controller and Accountant General's Department revealed that the total wage bill for just July and August reduced by 190 million Ghana cedis. He explained that the wage bill for July witnessed a 6% reduction over that of June, resulting in a cost saving of 178.36 million. Now, 17 institutions in Ghana wasted 36.11 million in just 5 months. How will a country like this ever make any progress? Look at this. You remember there was a time when, shockingly, the finance ministry, which is supposed to be the center of responsible, the citadel of responsible, financing processes and management, itself had people on the payroll who were taking, I think someone was taking almost 20,000, another person about 13,000, another person almost 10,000 for years. And these people didn't even work there.
And it reinforces the point that they themselves are not whiter than white, purer than pure. So, but workers, coming to looking at it from a broad perspective, workers are very aggressive in demanding what you give them. And some of these workers are the perpetrators of fraud against the state. And again, this is that no one is clean. We all falling short of the glory. And so whoever demands equity must come with clean hands. This is my synoptic.
Not the synoptic gospel, but your synoptic comments. Anyway, and then finally, the last story I'll do from the Daily Graphic. UTAG calls for overhaul of accreditation regime, kicks against 5 new universities. The University Teachers Association of Ghana has kicked against the decision by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to suspend the accreditation of new academic programs for public universities in the country. It has further criticized the intention of the government to establish 5 new universities, demanding that the funds be channeled into lecturer welfare and expansion of existing infrastructure, among others. I couldn't agree with them more. Why? We already have, for our population, we have a good set of public institutions, but a number of them are facing severe challenges. They are hemorrhaging. A number of them are quasi-independent, so they depend partly on government. They do their own things. They have IGFs and all of that. A lot of them, even the biggest ones, including the University of Ghana, are bleeding. Why not focus resources on making those ones even more world-class, even stronger, and they will naturally, because look at UG, UST, and the others, they pull along the smaller ones that are affiliated to them. So in a way, they will now bring those ones up to a certain level. We always like starting new things when even the old ones have not been given the necessary support. I agree with you, Tag, on this.
Yeah, sometimes we prioritize quantity over quality. So, but the reverse should be the case. Quality should always come come before quantity. In everything, quality first, and not quantity.
Well, let's get into your last paper. Oh, okay. So were you done with the daily guide? You started.
Yes, I did daily guide. We look at the laughable fines imposed on the tax we made, and then submission fees tearing apart of Attorney General's defense.
Okay.
And then payroll audit we've done, and then maybe we can contempt case. Another interesting case.
Okay.
We are told a contempt case against EC will be heard on November 24. Again, Watchers of Democracy and Human Rights and Press Human Rights are all ears and waiting to see what verdict will come from the court on the contempt case slapped on against the EC. EC officials claim that they were all in the field, so there was somebody to receive the contempt summons.
Yeah. And they directed that their lawyer.
The lawyer and all that. And Jemensa, the EC chairperson, is a lawyer and law-abiding citizen. Many people disagree with her style, but I know she means well for the good people of Ghana, and I believe she will not dance. She will dance to the dictate of the law and not to do anything which will bring more discredit to the under pressure EC.
Well, we'll see how that goes. The final newspaper. For me, I've got to the point where for some things, it becomes even difficult as a citizen, because I keep looking at what other countries are doing. Even countries we like to compare ourselves to in Africa. I see what they're doing, and then I come here and I look at certain things. In recent times, I've been traveling quite a lot within the sub-region. And I keep asking myself, apart from a few things that you would see here, are we really that better? And sometimes I get afraid, and then I hear of the young people leaving in droves, and it just breaks my heart. It's such a departure. I've also been reading some books recently by the Osajifo. And when I contemplate his dream, his vision, and then I look at where we are, it breaks my heart.
Osajifo, even in death, is the greatest gift, political gift the Almighty God gave to the people of Ghana, even though he was rejected like Jesus Christ. Yeah. But with the confidence of time, he's proven that he comes first. There's a vast difference between him.
He is definitely primus inter pares.
Yes, certainly yes. Certainly yes. Certainly yes.
Let's get into the final newspaper. 2024 budget should scrap 3 taxes, reduce import duties. That's according to FABAG. There's also 16 UTV studio invaders fined 2,400 Ghana cedis. Sign bonds of good behavior. Bravo, government. Bravo.
The sentence continue to strike cause of laughter.
Yeah. No, this is a show of great, this is a great show of I don't even know. This is a great show of will to deal with the situation and ensure that the media has a voice and is protected by the president, who is always touting the rule of law. This is such a wonderful sign. Mr. President, bravo. Bravo to you. 2,400 Ghana cedis. And then a sign bonds of
the sentence will occupy an ignoble place in history as one of the most laughable verdicts ever pronounced by the court.
Congratulations, Mr. President. Congratulations, Judiciary. You've done a fantastic job. You've done a great service to the Republic of Ghana.
Service.
They've done a great service to the Republic of Ghana. Of course, what you sow is what you reap.
We pray that you don't reap.
Government can save 36.1 million Ghana cedis in terms of compensation of 17 educational institutions. That's the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. President sympathizes with flood victims. And let me look at the story on page 11, because we've done most of the other stories. And so the CEO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Benjamin Arthur, has said that government has the potential of saving the national coffers about 1.2% of its expenses from the payrolls of 17 institutions in the educational sector. He said a monitoring exercise carried out by the group on these 17 institutions showed that government could save some 36.1 million if it took measures to correct certain identified anomalies. It ties into the other story I read, but it also tells you about the things we could do proactively rather than reactively to ensure that, I always say that even with the Auditor General's reports and all of that, with our system in the country, it's after the fact, when the thing has been perpetrated, done. Usually, why don't we have mechanisms in place to stop the thing from happening, or even in the process of happening?
Year after year.
Do you remember the backlog and how now they are even trying to catch up? Because it's always retrospective. It is never, on the point of when the thing is being done. So we'll always keep reporting, oh, this person has done this, and then we don't need to jail people. We need the money to run the country.
Yeah, we need the money.
Simple.
So what is chronically difficult for us as a nation to prevent certain things from happening? Other saying goes, an ounce of prevention is better
than a pound of
2024
budget should scrap 3 taxes, reduce import duties. FABAG says so. The Food and Beverage Association of Ghana has called on the government to remove 3 taxes and levies imposed on fruit juices and drinks. These are COVID-19 levy. I still can't think far why we're still paying the COVID-19 levy. From what I hear, we are the only country in the world still paying the COVID-19 levy. Another one to clap for this administration.
And we are
thank you for the COVID-19.
That levy has been spinning revenue for the nation to plug certain loopholes
in this economy and where the people are. So they cite the COVID-19 levy, the growth and sustainability tax, and the expanded excise tax. We have to go in just about 2 minutes. So I'll just read the headlines. Economy Times. Government projects higher GDP growth for 2023. I already brought you that story. Policy rate tightening to ease. That's with the recent drop in headline inflation by 200 basis points. And if you are on a loan in any bank or any financial facility, around this time, you would know that if there's something beyond hellish, you would have experienced that. Even people with fixed terms, surprisingly, have had their terms tweaked. And I'm like, wow. It's been crazy.
So if the economy is doing well, then it should reflect in the banking rate. It's as simple as that.
And Ghana's fiscal deficit to GDP to improve by more than half in 2023. Well, I think we'll have to draw the curtains here. Any final thoughts for us?
The landmark ruling by the court, we applaud the alacrity.
It has really touched your
certainly yes.
2,400 Ghana cedis each, and signing a bond. You know, I fear for this country. We've become so politicized, and I'm saying this post the ruling, and anyone can take me on for whatever they think. You remember the incident where a judge was chased out of her court? Do you remember?
Yes, again.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, in Kumasi.
You remember where 7 youth were gunned down, killed in cold blood in the Ashanti region?
Sure.
And later we're talking about compensation for them. Impunity has become the order of the day.
And what about impunity? If it's not tackled from the root, then it ignites, a re-energizing cycle, which then becomes hellishly difficult to uproot. So
it is what it is.
Back to the laughable verdict from the court.
God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great
and strong.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
And that's how we cap off the news review this morning. This segment brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Reach out to them at any of their branches. Here in Accra, they're at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronoma here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanzo and Esiamanzima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the end of the news review and the start of sports up next.
Let's do sports here on the AM show with me, Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. On Wednesday dawn, the Black Stars will come up against the United States of America in international friendly in the U.S., Nashville. Well, the senior national team of Ghana lost 2-0 to Mexico on Saturday, and Chris Hutton has called on the boys to respond against the USA.
Is that it's exactly the same message for the players. Is that what we don't want is that we don't want to leave this international camp with 2 poor results. And so the result of that is always that you are looking for a reaction from the team in the second game. And if you are able to get the right reaction, which I'm quite sure that we will from the team, then it gives you a better possibility of putting in a performance that can get something out of the game in the second game. So certainly what you have to do is you have to learn from the things that you didn't do so well in this game, the things that lost us the game, and endeavour to put them right in the next game.
And as you saw in your shot there, isn't it quite interesting that the Black Stars will arrive in flight and they have 2 buses waiting for them? This is because the Ghana Football Association apparently chartered a flight, and they had every single member within the Ghana football ecosystem, as well as some media men, and follow them to the USA. So they went there via a chartered flight, and they had to order minibuses so that they could get everyone on board to their destination. Now let's talk about the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association, and for the Premier League representatives, Kwesi Appiah, a former Black Stars captain and a coach, now the head coach of the Sudan national team. He was voted onto the Executive Council on October 5 when the GFA assembled in Tamale for its extraordinary Congress. And according to Dr. Randy Abe, Kwesi Appiah comes with a wealth of experience he believes will help the Executive Council.
Well, Kwesi Appiah is a legend. As a player. He captained the Black Stars. Has done a lot for this country, and even as a coach. I mean, he worked with me. The first ever international trophy that I won as a chairman of a national team was with Kwesi Appiah, the All Africa Games in Maputo in 2011, and so he brings a lot on board. I mean, from a player's perspective and from a technical handler's perception. And don't forget that he also currently is a part of the Kodoko administration, and so I think that he also brings a different perspective on the table.
I mean, one thing that caught my eye was that in this election, there was only one woman who took part in the elections, and it was Mrs. Gifty Owari-Mensah. In terms of gender, inclusivity, what do you make of it?
I mean, it's a shame, and it only means that we need to work harder. And guess what? We've even been able to achieve this because through legislation, we've decided that it's only women who can vie for this position. But even when it comes to women's football, you see that about 99% of the owners of the clubs are male. And a lot of people who even work in that part of the industry are male. And so if we had even opened it up, I'm sure that maybe a woman could not even have come through. And so you would even realize that as part of even deepening this, in the reforms that we've embarked on with respect to our statutes, we're even looking at make some changes, bringing in the position of a second vice and letting that position be just for a woman. And so we're trying. What we need to do is that we need to perhaps be a bit more deliberate. Same way that deliberate act is brought a woman at all cost onto the ESCO, maybe we need to do a lot more and to try and get a lot more women to contest in the other constituents. So you're talking about Premier, Division 1, RFA, the constituent bodies. I mean, we need to try and encourage a lot more women to get involved and also to put themselves up for elections. Yes.
The Ghana Premier League and Great Olympics came up against Accra Lions on Monday at the Accra Sports Stadium, and they won that game by 3-0.
Samuel Jima for the Lions is giving away possession. Agama goes down from the tackle of Shaukan. Akese lays one for Enchi, and Afo fails to deal with it first time. Now he makes the mistake, and Michael Yeboah scores. Olympics up by 1-0. Pure goalkeeping error, and Olympics takes full advantage. Michael Yeboah puts the Dade club ahead in the capital derby. It's Olympics 1, Accra Lions 0 at 10 minutes at the Accra Sports Stadium. Again, they've lost possession in a very dangerous area. Here is Agama, can't go past Jima, but he still has possession. Akese wants it. He goes to Enchi instead. Enchi, great play from Enchi. Back to Akese. Good ball to find the goal scorer, Yeboah. Now he finds Osei. Osei shoots from the tight angle. It's a second goal. Again, it's Michael Yeboah. The rebound from Yeboah after Michael Osei's effort. Not dealt with again properly by Afo. Olympics get a second in a space of 2 minutes. It's Olympics 2, Accra Lions 0. Apiga gives possession to Yeboah. Nutmegs Apiga. Here is Yeboah trying to set up Enchi, but it's a tackle from Shaukan. That referee Gideon Nikofi whistles and flashes his yellow card to take a free kick for Great Olympics. That's the nutmeg from Yeboah. Now he tries to go past his marker, sends one to Enchi, and Shaukan seem to have gone for the man and not the ball.
It's all about that press from Olympics. We spoke about the fact that
it's Emmanuel Enchi against the wall. The rebound is gone in, and Great Olympics have their third goal. Emmanuel Enchi makes it 3 for Olympics.
It looks dreadful for our Lions. But then the initial free kick goes or comes against the wall, and then it's Enchi again, who just finishes with his left foot a strong one, and Daniel Afo just couldn't do anything about that.
For a team that has scored just a goal before match day 5.
And 3 goals for Great Olympics against Accra Lions at the Accra Sports Stadium on Monday afternoon. And Ghanaian swimmer Christian Dia, he has been given the World Aquatics Scholarship. There's more in the following report.
Joy is written all over Christian's face. He has been granted a lifetime opportunity to enhance his development in Thailand for the next 12 months. The swimmer was so overcome with joy that laughter bubbled uncontrollably, rendering him momentarily speechless.
The first thing, I have to greet my coach first, Coach BB. Has done the most work for me. Then okay. Yes.
The 18-year-old is one of the budding swimmers in Ghana, having represented the country at various swimming tournaments. His hard work did not go unnoticed.
To showcase him to the world, to Ghana as a whole, and for our swimmers to know that what they are doing is not in vain. The harder they try, the better they become. These are some of the privileges that we get when they are able to put themselves forth for the country and for themselves as well.
Christian's passion for swimming was evident from the age of 9. His coach narrates the story of how he was discovered.
And I remember, as small as he was, 9 years, he didn't have money to pay for the usage of the facilities. So what I saw him doing was he comes to the poolside and then comes to pick some of the refuse, the rubbish around the pool, after which when he finishes, one instructor, someone will tell him, okay, come and let me show you how to swim. Let me teach you how to swim. And that is how Christian learned how to swim. So upon learning how to swim, he comes to the pool, helps with the daily cleaning of the place, and then he gets on an opportunity to swim. So I think one of the days I saw him in the pool swimming, and I was like, oh, this guy has some good strokes. He's a potential. Why don't we add him? The club was then just 1 year, so I spoke to the president of the club then, Professor Ite, who said, okay, let's bring him in.
Christian will be the second beneficiary of the scholarship after national record holder Abeku Jackson. The swimmer was warned not to take the opportunity for granted.
Abeku has led by an example. We had a second opportunity, so he too should go there, not as Christian but as an ambassador of Ghana swimming, to also pave way for other swimmers, to also pave way for us to get more and more of the scholarship, so that other swimmers who are upcoming, who are also looking up to him, will also get the opportunity to get into the environment that he gets to. Thank you.
As Christian steps onto this new chapter, he carries not just the weight of his dreams, but also the hopes of those who aspire to tread the waters of triumph. Haruna Mubarak for Joy Sports.
This is our wrap-up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abla, the leadership of Ghana Football Association. They have paid their last respect to former chairman of the Ghana Football Association, Alhaji MND Jawula, who died in the USA earlier this year. And the GFA president and the marketing manager of the Ghana Football Association, as well as the Greater Accra Regional Football Association chairman, Samuel Abuabri, they were all at the grave side of the former chairman of the Ghana Football Association to pay their last respects to him. We'll have details of that in our subsequent bulletins. This is how we wrap up AM Sports. Here with me, Muftau Dabila Abla. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories.
Meet baby X, preserved in formalin at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology for observation. He or she is not your normal baby. Baby X is deformed. It has no genitals. It has 6 fingers and 6 toes and a malformed head. This baby was discovered by Professor Osei Sampini, a pathologist, scientist, and a senior lecturer with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
The first case I had was in the Western North, which is BBNE to be precise. The mother was sent to the labor ward. She couldn't make it, so she died. And you see, once the person dies, usually the doctors will not go ahead to do cesarean section. The baby and the mother are sent to the morgue, and then another person comes in to remove the baby.
This was after the autopsy to separate the baby from the mother, who died before delivery.
The baby or the fetus that was in the mother's womb was deformed. Deformed in the sense that the baby had multiple limbs, including, I'm talking about upper and lower limbs. The eye was not well formed, fused together. He had no sexes, that is, there was no identifiable sex. And generally, I mean, in medicine we call it dysmorphic, where you could not see anything that makes the baby, if he had been even born, would have lived comfortably in life.
Professor Sampini traces the cause of the deformities to heavy concentrations of lead, mercury, and cyanide found in the placenta.
Well, mercury, cyanide, lead, and arsenic, yes, in that order. They were all there. They were all there. Of course, in some appreciable concentration that could be damaging to the normal function or the normal development of the DNA, the baby, and so on and so forth. Once it is in the placenta, naturally to be in the baby, because the placenta is the only means by which the baby gets his feed. Even the oxygen the baby gets is from the placenta. Everything that the baby gets was in the uterus is from the placenta.
Baby X is perhaps the strongest proof ever of how heavy metal contamination can alter the developmental stages of a fetus, leading to extreme deformation in babies.
I was surprised because medicine evolves. People have done studies in some of these things. So if you see them in the literatures, the books that you read, the biology books, the pathology books, anatomy books, the histology books and all those things, sometimes you see them, you feel these are things that are just because that they are just like toys or something that do not exist, people's imaginations. But when I saw it, then I realized that yes, it's true.
Baby X's preserved body is a grim presentation of an unseen danger lurking in the midst of communities affected by irresponsible mining and the selfish pollution of the Ghanaian environment for gold. Professor Sampini has so far seen and tested 4 of such babies with extreme deformities. He has similarly found disturbing levels of lead and mercury in all of them.
I had a similar call to go and get another one done. That was in Central Region, Dunkwa Hospital. And the same thing was found. Then comes other cases in the Ashanti region, where another one was also found to be in a similar manner. And then the Western region, again, where another one was also found. Then I realized that there should supposed to be some correlation here. And that correlation is what? The spillage of what? Any pollutant, any form of pollutant into the system, into the ecosystem, where we need to actually address. Then I decided, look, let me just now get all the placentas labeled, parts of the babies, these fetuses, parts, organs, like the kidney, the liver, these vital organs. Let me just take bits and pieces of them and then do some work, laboratory work around it, and see what could be the reason.
He concludes that this is a grim reality of a possible widespread catastrophe which needs further public health research on a large scale.
The conclusion is that heavy metals are in the system.
Irresponsible mining generates tailings, a byproduct of the sluicing process in extracting the gold. These are done haphazardly without recourse to environmental safety and protection. Consequently, the heavy metals in the tailings are released into water bodies, the soil, food chain, surface, and groundwater. This type of uncontrolled mining introduces naturally occurring poisonous heavy metals into water bodies like the Pra. The Environmental Protection Agency, in its research conducted on fishes in the Tano River in 2022, revealed alarming levels of mercury.
EPA, we are also into research.
Dr. Jackson Edia Nyantachi is the half-original director of the Environmental Protection Agency. He spoke at a transformational dialogue on small-scale mining organized by the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Sunyani.
In fish samples that were taken from River Tano at the Dantano area there, I thought I was just doing something simple. But when I realized the levels of mercury in the fish samples, I became so alarmed. I looked at the levels in muscle, the fish muscles, the head, the gills, the eye, and the bones. The highest concentration was in the gills. The bones were also there. So since then, I have stopped eating the head of the fish as well as the bones. I only eat the muscles, and that is it.
There's an actual link between heavy metal found in the soil and food.
Dr. Albert Kobna Mensah is a research scientist with a PhD in heavy metals in mine-affected tailings and soil, forest, water, and land degradation. He reveals the link between these poisonous metals and food grown from these areas.
I collected samples from Obuasi, areas that are contaminated with arsenic, with cadmium, with lead and copper. And we cultivated the soil in a pot, in a greenhouse. In fact, there were alarming concentrations of heavy metal that were accumulated in the lettuce.
And this is exactly how we are poisoning ourselves for gold. The scientists have given us their warnings. We're seeing all of these things happening, children being born. And at first, our medical people felt it was maybe some nature at work with some disparities in there. But you see children with extra limbs, genitalia, among others, not properly formed, head not properly formed, among other parts of the body. Then you take samples from the placenta, like was done in one instance, and you realize, whoa, what is happening here? High concentrations of all of these heavy metals, mercury, lead, among others. Then you collect other samples, go through the same process and realize from different parts of the country, galamsey, illegal mining, is killing us. The venom of it, we're feeling. You may sit in a cry and say, but the food you consume, the fish you consume, the leafy vegetables, wherever they come from, we are all getting poisoned for gold. And that's why we're having this conversation this morning. Our guests, Dr. Abdul Wadud Momin, Senior Lecturer, School of Mines, University of Energy and Natural Resources. We also have Elizabeth Alua-Va, Executive Director, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. It's been so long since I spoke to Elizabeth. It's really good to have her. And later we'll also have an interaction with Daryl Bosu. And there's something I'll get into as far as the Western region is concerned and what is happening there. But let me say a very good morning to Elizabeth Va, who joins us virtually. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning.
It's so good to have you. It's been a long time. I don't know, what have you been up to as far as protecting Ghana's environment is concerned?
Yeah, nice talking to you. It's been a while, and I wish we didn't have to meet on these topics. I've just been after one item after the other. Currently, there is a prospecting license that has been issued for mining of the Amanzule Conservation Area.
That's exactly what I was talking about that I would get to.
I grew up on the Amanzule, and so I am just, I haven't been able to sleep the past few days. We've gotten quite a number of signatures. So we're going to be sending it to the Minerals Commission. We have to get a hold on this kind of man-made destruction of ourselves, our environment, and now our future generation.
So I am doing this to my director for the day, Ashilevi. I am sending him a photo of that area. If not, we can get a photo of the Amanzule Conservation Area. Okay, I'm putting it to him out there. He is directing. He's my boss. I want people, there's this aerial view of the place. Dr. Momen is in the studio. Let me, there's this aerial view. Look at that. And we'll try and put it on your screen. That is what we're allowing people to go and mine in. With the few pristine resources we have when it comes to water bodies. Now even that place we're giving out concessions to go there.
Yeah, let me just explain that. It's not the exact place, but rivers take their sources from somewhere.
Yeah.
So the beautiful one you see along the coast in Nzema is actually taking its source from small streams up closer to the Ankobra within that area. Yes, and that is why it's called the Amanzule Conservation Area. Once you hit there, the next day you see the river you see so nice is gone. There wouldn't be any mining in it, but it's being polluted from the source. The same way that the Join Lagoon, there's no mining in the Join Lagoon, but because Tano is polluted from Summer Boy, Join Lagoon is now a total polluted pond.
Well, I guess what we're looking for as a nation eventually we'll find. Dr. Momen, thank you for joining us in the studio. Your take on this? I mean, it's also been a while since you joined us for a conversation. Yeah. If I were to ask you the state of illegal mining, the state of getting better in the fight. Mr. President has been going around and he often touts how much we are doing. What is your reading of that situation before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Thank you very much for having me this morning, and it's a privilege to speak to Ghanaians and discuss such a pertinent issue. The picture that you just showed me, I flew over that site only 2 days ago.
Over there 2 days ago. And we have that picture. I think we can just put it. That's it. That's the area. It may not be specifically, but that's the area we're talking about.
Yes, I have no doubt. I'm telling you, I flew over there just 2 days ago, and I had a live aerial view of the inflows of water. And I agree with Elizabeth when she says that there is no mining concession at that place at that point.
At that point
that you see, but you would find that the concentrated water with heavy metals are actually flowing from upstream channels.
They will eventually get there.
Yes, that's what I will agree with you. And that is not a mining concession. And I would want to say that Minerals Commission has no idea. I'm not actually doing their bidding, but Minerals Commission has no idea about what is happening over there. And
shouldn't they?
They have monitoring schemes in place, but sometimes you see we have to come to terms with the fact that illegal mining is a criminal activity. Some of us say we shouldn't criminalize them, we should formalize them, but those who go outside the formalization processes are actually criminalizing their own activities. You know, so if we look at it in that perspective, criminals are always ahead of the security intelligence, right? By the time I was with Dr. Tony Obin, former Minerals Commission CEO, and we discussed this, by the time you spot them at a particular place, they have advanced to the next stage of development. And it's really difficult for the Minerals Commission to track them. So the U.S. Embassy, together with Department of State, U.S. Department of State, came into some collaboration with UMAT, and they invited us to discuss how we could come up with technology inventions to actually help in the tracking and reporting of these activities. So as you rightly said, we could use the satellite data, satellite imagery to track the origin of the source of pollution, and then be able to actually create a buffer around communities that are likely to suffer from contamination downstream from upstream polluters. That's the illegal miners upstream. And we are coming up with so many ideas as to how we can do this and even make the information public, share with media houses like yours, that at any point in time, near real-time analysis and sporting of these activities, we share with you. You run them just as you have just run this one, and I'm confirming that I've flown over the area the last 2 days. It is likely that we would have technological revolution to actually inform citizenry and the best course of action to take. Let me recall the words of Chief Andani, the former CEO of Stanbic Bank. When this year he came to address as the keynote speaker Ghana Mining and Energy Summit. He said that if government and if all the powers that be do not take a concerted action, he's going to lead a revolution of chiefs, a revolution led by chiefs, to fight against illegal mining. But I can also assure you that all hands are on deck, and there is...
I'll tell you for a fact, people like Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe.
That's right.
You know the pivotal role. Someone was speaking to me recently and telling me about the frustrations he is going through. So you tell me about the Minerals Commission and this body and that body. I'll tell you for a fact that yes, while in many instances these groups, and I'm not singling out anyone, may try, there are also instances where they know very well and they turn a blind eye. You know why? Because of politics.
Yes.
And because of other things that happen. I mean, look at what happened to the Professor Frimpong Boateng, reports and everything else. Of course, it took even 2 years gathering dust before we got wind of it through a leak and everything. So the question, and I think I'll put it to Elizabeth as well, the question I am posing then is, month on month, you said you wished we wouldn't even be here having this conversation. Do you see any progress at all when it comes to the fight against illegal mining? And I want us to use that to situate the conversation on poison for gold, where we actually see the palpable effects of this. Elizabeth?
Yes, thank you. Not from officialdom. From official sources, I've only seen the usual talk, the nice things, and then nothing happens on the ground. Or on the ground is the opposite. I sit here and I get pictures, videos of shamfans being driven, placed on the washing machines, placed on trucks on their way to Nyamebetre, different places in the Jura area, in the Lembele area, in Nzema East. I sit here and I get them. The question is, what are our police and all those people who are supposed to be responsible for those areas doing? So from officialdom, no. But I am seeing a lot of interest from communities as we bring these issues to their attention. Like I told you, the Menzule issue, we took it up like 3 days ago, and already I have almost 700 signatures on the petition that we are getting ready to send to the Minerals Commission. I've informed our ulais, I've informed our kin, and they are all looking at what they can do to make sure that the Minerals Commission is put on notice, as well as the EPA and the concessionaire. So The people in the communities are waking up. And I am hoping that this very, very educative and informative documentary that Erastus has done, and this young man, God bless him, is translated into our local languages and shown in every home in our communities. Once they see it, they see that it's no longer theoretical, but it's actually reflecting in the deformed babies, in dying mothers, in men who are having neurological disorders. I think they will advise themselves. So we need to take it to the people and let them fight for themselves, because officialdom, I don't know. I don't see why the Minerals Commission would sit in Accra and give the Menzile Conservation Area as a place to prospect for gold. And now they want to go and see for themselves. Now, isn't it a bit too late? Couldn't they have done that earlier on? Shouldn't they know which place in Ghana is open for mining? If even you say that they are doing a good thing in terms of properly monitoring and holding the people that they license to task. If they don't, but they just sit and cut, they just take a piece of Ghana and say, that's your concession. Well, that's not helping the situation. People are dying here.
People are dying here. And now I want to, narrow it down to Poisoned for Gold. You see everything in that Hotline documentary, which aired, the full-length thing airing yesterday at 8:30. And you look at what is happening on the ground vis-a-vis what the authorities supposedly are doing, and then the stark health implications. Babies, children, malformation, elderly people, concentrations of these and them. Even we're told that for some of them, like mercury and the rest, it may not be physical contact or anything. Some of them are inhaling these things into them. Inhalation. Mercury, from what I gather, is even it's a metal, but it's one of those, it's a liquid metal, depending on how you categorize it. Imagine inhaling this and what it's doing to our bodies. What is your reflection on Poisoned for Gold?
I think it captures it succinctly, what we are doing to ourselves. And, as a mother who lost a baby, and also an environmental advocate, I've been so down since I watched that yesterday. And that's why I'm saying that it tells the message, it so well. Maybe everything we've said, if people wouldn't even hear it, they must at least see that little boy or girl, you can't even tell, that didn't make it just because his mother or her mother happened to be in a place where her country could not protect her. You see, especially in the communities downstream, you go to the downstream of Ankobra, and the fishermen, the men are fishing in that polluted sea and river. That's what they are going to end up consuming. They're going to be selling it to you and I. But they are living by that polluted river. You go to Tano, the same thing. All the people along those areas, there are human beings, fellow Ghanaians, like the president likes to say, and we are poisoning them to death on a daily basis. Look at the kidney dialysis situation in the country.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that we had this many kidney situation in this many people suffering from kidney failure. I didn't even know that. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. And it's only going to get worse. This is a public health emergency. If the destruction wouldn't touch people, the public health emergency should. And it's about time that we spoke up for the people who have no voice and are at the very, very receiving end of this.
Let me come into the studio, Doc. You watched it, right?
Yep.
Your takeaways?
It's really a sad situation we have found ourselves in. sometimes it is not good to actually disclose all that we have uncovered, because you do that, you frighten a lot of people. People will not even want to eat food made in Ghana and even produced in Ghana.
But maybe we should get to the point where we paint the stark reality to the people. Like the Ghana Water Company had a point saying, look, processing water is becoming so difficult. In some instances, they are processing mud to get, because this is contaminated. And look at now they are no longer using the other alum and the rest. They are using polymers at extra cost. Maybe that is what it will take to get people to realize that, we all, maybe I'm benefiting a little, but this is the national scale, and this is what it's doing to all of us.
Yes, as Elizabeth has rightly declared that it's a national public health emergency. If we tell you the amount of mercury concentrations in soil and in water bodies across the country, not just the examples that you are showing, is so alarming. My colleague did a study across almost previously the 10 regions in the country, now 16 of them. Every region, she sampled about 3 to 4 communities. 2 communities that host galamsey, illegal mining, and 3 more communities that are actually in the vicinity of these communities, host communities. And it has been found that even testing the urine of people who live outside galamsey communities, there was a lot of mercury concentration in the urine of people. So you can imagine where we are heading towards dialysis. And the population's numbers of people that are actually potentially kidney patients in these communities that are even not hosting illegal mining.
Which will put a lot of pressure on the health system that already is not even standing on its feet.
Exactly.
Where already health professionals are leaving the country in droves.
Now talk less about those who even live within the vicinity of illegal mining and those who actually practice it through inhalation and through food, through vegetables, and also through water. So we will end up in a situation where we have to import food from foreign countries, like other countries like Burkina Faso, where we used to even supply food, which is even an arid country that cannot actually, could not produce food. Now we have to depend on them for at least good food. Otherwise, there is no region except in the northeast and northern regions, and then OT regions that do not actually host illegal mining activities. Every other region that hosts illegal mining activities now, if you sample 5 communities from there, even those that do not host but are neighborhood to practicing operation sites, there is no confidence that you will not find mercury concentrations in these areas. Apart from mercury, also the other thing is cyanide. Interestingly, where do we get the mercury? Where do the miners get the mercury from? Because I know, you and I know.
And I know, mercury is not something that you can just go somewhere and go and purchase. It's not like that.
I went to a village in the what do you call it, in the Bole district, and I had discussions with the illegal miners. They told me, look, we always say they use mercury on site. They don't have the capacity to actually buy mercury from the market in Ghana. And the restrictions that are in place prevents them from buying mercury.
Exactly.
But what happens is that they trade mercury. Burkina-based come to trade mercury with them for gold. And if we can soften some of these restrictions and allow them to be able to register for mercury under regulations, it's better than the illegal routes through which Burkina-based and Ivorians bring the mercury into the country. But to purchase mercury in Ghana is really expensive and very deterring to illegal miners. Yet we find concentrations, and actually it's ubiquitous across all galamsey sites. No one can say they do not. It's very scary. The situation on the ground is really very scary. And I can assure you that you go to restaurants, you will not even want to eat food from the restaurants, because most of them are actually harvested from countryside communities that are actually mercury laden on the farmlands.
Elizabeth, and now we know that even the Volta, some portions of it, there have been, apart from sand winning, there are some places where there have been attempts to engage in illegal mining. If the Volta also gets impacted, then I think that would be game, set, and match.
Yes, and the doctor said that some of the pictures we don't want to show them. I am for showing it all. That's what was done with cigarette, right? Even now in Canada, cigarette sticks have so many warnings on it, sometimes with pictures of a shriveled or damaged lungs. I think we have to show it to people. People have to see what they are doing to themselves and what we are allowing done to us. So we should show them. We should show them what it is, because that is the reality of so many. Regarding the Volta, I mean, I don't know what to say. This country, this is a national emergency. This is a security situation. It's because our worst enemy, if we were at war with a different country and they did this to us, they would have gotten us. But we are watching, our armies watching, our interior ministry, our government, our president is watching, and we just say nice things and our country is being run over. Professor Frimpong Boateng came up with a report. This man headed this interministerial committee. And we are treating that report like it's just somebody just collected a few things and strung them together and sent them out.
We are told it is empty, that it has nothing in there worthy of pursuing. That's what we've been told. Empty.
But we have so much on the ground to show that this is not just empty things. Erastus shows you specific forest reserves that were ravaged before some people got the license to even go in there. And as to why someone would be given a license to go ravage a forest reserve, I still can't wrap my mind around it. We now have LI 2462. I mean, it's like even when we are in the emergency, we keep killing. LI 2462 virtually allows the powers that be to give out concessions in forest reserves, and there are no restrictions as to how much of the forest reserve can be given, whether the people they've given it to need to reforest or not. It's like, why open the gates when you can't even hold the little things that you are supposed to hold inside? So I don't know where we are headed. I don't know what it is that we actually intend to gain from this self-destruction. And I'm looking forward to the day when, fortunately, we have some of these things documented, when we will be able to bring people to justice, like on behalf of all the people, both living and dead, and even that fetus that you showed, for the destruction and the loss of life that has been caused them by their own state.
Well,
I would want to add something to what Elizabeth has said. I personally have proposed over the days that, look, we have to see the use of mercury as a narcotic case, where we have to start tracking the routes of mercury into the country and out of the country, and also the routes of trade of illicit mined gold. And that is one of the ways that we can actually save the situation. Talking about Professor Frimpong Boateng's case, I just read on newspapers 3 days ago that even the OSP is writing to the Chief Justice to ask for a judge that would actually hear the case that he has filed during the investigations.
Yeah. Well, we can also talk about the real impact on our land. You made mention of, I don't know whether it's Elizabeth who made mention of, you made mention of our leafy vegetables, among other things that we're producing. We talk about the impact of the water because it seeps into, of course, it is the same water from the rivers and others that irrigate the land. That's why usually along the banks of any river or water body, you would find that the greenery there is pretty lush and everything. They are seeping into everything that we are eating. And like you mentioned, we may get to the point where we need to import from our neighbors because we've contaminated our land. Our neighbors have had cause. I think Burkina Faso, others have had cause at a point to complain about what we are doing to our water bodies because they are affecting their water bodies. All of these water bodies have sources and they go to other places like the Nile.
It's the Ivorians.
So, what per these studies have been the impact on the land? You've spoken about the water bodies. How about the land itself, samples? Can you share a bit more on that on the back of Poison for Gold? Because your people also engage in this. Is there any such study that has been conducted?
Yes, if I had known that you would ask me to give, I would have given, because I have some of them on my laptop, I would have shown them on screen for people.
These are land?
Yes, land contaminated soils that are actually dominated by heavy metals in concentrations.
So it means if you plant anything there, the plants will naturally absorb these?
Yes, and the natural vegetation there is actually disappearing, and new vegetation that is resistant to the heavy metals are now appearing on most of these farmlands. So that is why you would go to communities that were previously agrarian. Now they complain that farm yield is dwindling, is fast disappearing in favor of farming seasons because of the presence of these heavy metals in the soils. So they introduce different breeds and species of vegetation on the land. So when you plant crops, those new breeds introduced species of crops, plants, take the nutrients, the soil nutrients that the crops for food required to do well on the soil. So it cuts across almost all the mining areas in the country that farmers themselves are actually finding weird that all of a sudden they find themselves facing low yield on cropping season, and also animals are dying. The animals eat the vegetation. The pasture that the animals depend on are all actually sucking these metals from the soils. And the soils also are laden with these through the water, both underground water flow and surface water runoff that come to deposit, wash the heavy metals from site downstream to farmland areas, and all of the soils on the surface are poisoned with these heavy metals. And the plants actually suck the heavy metals from the soil, and the animals eat the plants. And so we had reported cases from farmers that for whatever reason, sometimes superstitions. People believe that other people are actually poisoning their animals. Lo and behold, they have come to find that through our studies, that look, it is as a result of heavy metal contamination on the soils and on the lands. A lot of lands are becoming barren now because the original native vegetative cover is all disappearing as a result of contamination of the soils on the surface of the land. And you will not only put that to crops and farmlands, and as I actually mentioned, on trees. Now, look, if you go to most of these areas, even buildings, those days you would have blocks that are used to construct buildings, and you would find about 50 years old buildings, and the blocks are still neat and intact. Now you plaster a wall, a fresh wall that has been constructed for just a year, you come to find that the whole wall is wearing down. What is happening? Because all the soils have actually been contaminated with heavy metals, that they are no longer able to hold together cement and other.
They're no longer viable for all of those.
For construction.
Yeah.
So it's as a result of the heavy metal concentrations.
Where we are getting to in this country. And Elizabeth, I have heard of studies and, read different documents that point to the fact that, interestingly, while the South Americans, there was, I don't know whether it was swollen shoot or one of those diseases, but they wiped out cocoa farms in Brazil. Brazil at a point was the second largest, producer of cocoa. And then it slipped, all of those in South America. Now the South Americans are heavily getting into it. Their advantage, swathes of land, fertile soil, large hectares, and they're going into it. And they've been catching up over the last 6 years coming forward. We are at risk and we don't even realize it. Come to Ghana, and because of the soil losing its quality on the back of galamsey and all of that, a farmer can now farm an entire acre, and what they get from it is infinitesimal compared to maybe how many years or decades ago. And we are sitting down So it's destroying everything, and even our cash crop is also suffering. You know, it struck me, I want to run this by you. In the documentary, there is a galamsey who somewhere in there, you know, he is drinking the same water he's polluting, and he says, "Yebe wunti yenna." How much more education do we need on this for people to realize that we are literally killing ourselves?
Yes, thank you for the question. At a point when people or some people have become so adamant, I think then it borders on criminality. Because it's one thing destroying yourself, it's another destroying someone else, and a whole swathe of people who have who have nothing to do with your self-imposed destruction. So we have to be able to differentiate between the two. There are so many people who, through no fault of theirs, happen to live in these communities, and they are virtually at the mercy of these galamseyers. And not just the galamseyers, even the legalized small-scale miners, because they don't do anything different from what these guys are doing. And many of these people are helpless. They don't even know who to go and report to. The security service, the police in those communities are compromised. The DCEs, everybody along the chain of leadership in these communities, most of them are compromised. So we need to be able to isolate those who have decided to go on a suicide mission, probably put them all in a particular place and let them do whatever they want to do with themselves. But
what do you mean by that, though? What do you mean by that? Put them all in a particular place. Is it incarcerate them, or is it put them in one place and say, okay, you can destroy this place, but you destroy yourselves as well? What exactly do you mean?
Yeah, someone like that young man, I don't know. Yes, yeah, I don't know what else you would tell this young man to let him change his mind. I had the privilege of talking to one young man once I started this, and he had brought 3 of his brothers to come and join him in this gold smeltering business. And when I spoke to him, ran him down all the things that he's doing to himself, he stopped. He said he was using whatever little money he has to go and get a taxi and then run it. He sent his brothers home and all that. Some people can be changed, but those who have put themselves like kamikazes, we let them. Maybe either they get incarcerated, or we carve out a space for them and leave them all in there to do whatever they want to do with themselves. But the majority of our people shouldn't suffer because some people just will do anything for money. And the sad thing to me is the real people who enjoy the money from our gold are living in penthouses in Dubai.
Exactly.
That is what hurts me. Because look at the guy that was being interviewed by Rastas. This guy that has done galamsey for so many years and now almost about to die has nothing to show for it. So I don't know what will make someone decide that even though this will kill me, I'm going to do it because I will get a few cedis to buy food to eat today.
But some too would tell you, you know, you remember, is it the Nkoranza incident where some police officers were seen begging some alleged galamseyers, and were told that one of those, you know, in the footage actually owns, multi-bedroom entity that he even runs as a hotel or something of the sort. The point is, we shouldn't collectively suffer for someone's singular greed. And my problem is the fact that, like Doc in the studio mentioned, these people cannot purchase mercury. There are political figures involved. Some of them will be able to get the mercury for whoever is running things on the ground for them. Erastus himself will confirm that there are instances where you go to certain places when the IMCIM back then was, and you'll get a call. No, this place, our person is involved, please move out, and all of that. our political actors, our leaders, some of our chiefs and all of that are in bed, in cahoots with these people. I mean, sometimes I just get to the point where I think it may take something really radical to stop this. And Elizabeth, we've been told that even if we stopped all of this today, our water bodies, it would take us about a century for them to get anything near to what they were before. And we're still going on. Growing up, some of the textbooks you would see the river Nkobra, the river Pra, and they were all, look at them today. I mean, what will it take to bring this menace to an end? Because obviously, I'm putting my presidency on the line, has not yielded anything.
It's leadership. It all comes back to leadership. Without the right leadership, we will keep going around in circles. If we really want to stop this, we can't stop it. But without the right leadership, we are not going to get anywhere. Because even the Awulai of Axim, Awulai Atibukusu said during the Kundum festival, he made a statement that the politicians have hijacked this such that even when you arrest somebody and you make all the noise about them destroying your land, and you get a call that way Yaminipa, so let them. So there is so much, so many interested parties, so many people who don't want this country to do well, hiding behind these people and really responsible for their destruction. With the right leadership that says, I want my country back, I want us to be able to get a hold on this, they'll be able to arrest the main kingpins behind the destruction. Once you cut the head, the tail and the body will not survive. Then the people who genuinely need employment, we can always find something different for them to do. The land that we are destroying can be a source of, producing most of these spices and other things that the world needs. Coconut is now one of the big things that people in the Western world are craving for. There are so many things we can do with our land. With the right leadership that says, no matter what, we are not destroying ourselves. Things will change. And our chiefs as well. So now even with the Nzema, the Amanzule one, like we have told our chiefs, our Ulais, and we're expecting the Nzema Mali Traditional Council to come up with a statement. It's about time they came together, stood up and spoke up for their own land. Otherwise, there's no reason why the people should become poodles to whichever political regime is in place. These guys come in only 4 years at a time, and we have to vote them to power. So you, the chiefs, you, our Nananum, our kings, you are the guys, you are the people, the men and women who must hold on to your communities, So there can be a way around it if we genuinely have the right leadership to direct this.
There was such a time when calling yourself Ghanaian came with a lot of pride. It still does in a way, but you look at what we're doing to ourselves. And for you, Doc, this is how far we've come. I do not know what it will take because nothing has worked.
I want to refresh our memories back to the days of the colonial rule. In 1933, the British rule actually banned the use of mercury. And these are some of the things they envisaged, and that brought the ban of mercury. And this law has been repealed in 1989. And we only allow the use of mercury for gold processing by the small-scale mining.
So you say 1933, that's 90 years ago.
Yes.
They banned it. Yeah. Today, yes, we are in different ways allowing it to take a foothold.
No, it was repealed by the PNDC Law 217.
I don't disagree. I'm saying that through our actions and inactions, we're allowing it to take a foothold. It's not about the banning. You mentioned how difficult it is to secure mercury.
Yes.
But through our actions and inactions,
yes,
is it in use or not?
It is.
Is it destroying our environment or not?
Yes, it is. So I'm trying to suggest that the first step I feel now, there may be repercussions to that, but we just have to ban mercury for now completely. because the law currently allows the use of mercury.
Quick question. The major mining entities, they don't use that, do they?
The large-scale mining companies don't use mercury.
Exactly. It's the small-scale ones that have to use it to, and so if we ban it, then of course,
and that is
the entire value chain goes.
No, it doesn't really go. That is backed by law. Yes, of course, the value chain for the trade and use of mercury for ore processing can actually be deleted from the system. There are other equally viable options for ore processing without the use of mercury. They only tell you that mercury is the most efficient among all. There are other metals that are equally poisonous but are not actually outrageous in use now. That can be used. We have also discovered...
Maybe you shouldn't mention their names to give people any ideas.
No. So then the technologies are also now available for the processing of gold without actually the use of mercury. I have done work for the Minamata Convention, which seeks to actually discourage the use of mercury, and we've been actually simulating and discussing technologies that can actually be used. And that's why I strongly suggest that, look, it is about time that Ghanaians and government, now if you say government, we are literally referring to politicians who are actually giving us all kinds of, demoralizing us from citizenship, right, and patriotism in the fight of the use of mercury and also in the fight against illegal mining. But if citizenry through media channels can actually advocate the complete ban of mercury out of the system, to repeal the 1989 PNDC Law 217, it is better for us. Then we can begin to head for natural recuperation and remediation techniques of the polluted and already contaminated water bodies and soils. That is the best way I think we can go about this. Yep.
Well, thank you for those thoughts. I'll give each one of you some 20 seconds to wrap. Elizabeth, any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Just on Doctor's point, I thought we were signatories to the Minamata Convention. So why would still allow mercury into our country and for it to become a big issue? It all boils down to the enforcement side of things. In the country, we have very, very beautiful, lofty laws in our books. But do we really enforce them? That's another topic. What last words do I have? We keep saying that if this particular expose doesn't get Ghanaians to sit up, then nothing will. Then we go to the next, Erastus continues to do this wonderful service to our country that the EPAs, the various organizations and arms of state should be doing. Now, what do we do with this information? My plea is that we make this available in all the various languages. And we get GTV to really get some rights to show this in every community in the country. Show the pictures as they are. Show that little baby that couldn't see the light of day with the 6 fingers, no anus, and all of that. Let people see that a mother died because her placenta was virtually broken down by all the mercury concentration inside her. Let people know that when there's galamsey in their communities, it's not just the people in the trenches that are killing themselves.
Right.
The entire community is at risk.
Right. Thank you, Elizabeth, for, whenever I have these conversations, they just dampen my mood, honestly. They leave me, final words, please, shorter if you can.
Yeah, so let me quickly say that Ghana has just submitted our National Action Plan to the Minamata Convention Secretariat.
Action Plan?
Yeah, National Action Plan.
National Action Plan.
That's right. Yes.
Action Plan.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And through the Ministry of Environment, and our actions are actually yet to be implemented. I'm yet to see that. But I would also want to bring our minds back to what pertains in DR Congo. In DR Congo, it's a mess situation where no one cares. Anyone owns a concession. Illegal mining is outrageous.
We don't want to get there.
So that's why I say let's take our minds to what's going on in DR Congo and we will advise ourselves. You were telling me off air what we have seen in Liberia. All of these are just a conglomerate of hazard that is going on in DR Congo because the issue of illegal mining and the use of mercury has escalated to levels that no one can control. And the government has actually given up. There's no way any political party, whether they are interested or not, can actually manage the situation now in DR Congo. We don't want to get there in Ghana. Thank you.
Ghana no ebeye ya hwan yenara menewara. It's our job to do, and if we will not do it, I guess we should not complain someday. If the very things we dread happen, hopefully we don't get there. Hopefully not. Well, those who joined us for this conversation, Dr. Abdul Wadud Momin, he's a senior lecturer, School of Mines, University of Energy and Natural Resources. We also had Elizabeth Alua Va, Executive Director, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. Up next, the spouses of heads of missions in Ghana and international organizations are getting ready to host their very first diplomatic fashion gala in efforts to support a range of local charities that benefit Ghanaians in urgent need. We're talking about the 21st day of October, Saturday. Well, we'll be giving you quite some insight into that as we host the guest for that conversation. Bernice Abubeidu Lanza is up next on the AM show.
Hello there, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the AM show. And that was a very important conversation Benjamin Akapo had there on the terrible impact of illegal mining. But now I'm just going to zoom into our next conversation, and it's one that will interest you. Now, the spouses of heads of missions in Ghana and international organization is getting ready to host its very first diplomatic fashion gala in efforts to support a range of local charities that benefit Ghanaians in urgent need. Now, it comes off on Saturday, the 21st of October at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, Accra. And this morning, I've been joined by Robert Owen Jones. He's a spouse of the Australian High Commissioner to Ghana, and Akofa Wale. She's a diplomatic fashion gala committee member. Welcome. And it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I am just curious, because usually we know that diplomatic groupings do a lot, but fashion gala, charities, what's all this about, Robert?
It's an excellent question. So the association has existed for some 40 years. It has members from every single inhabited continent, Africa, of course, South America, North America, Europe, Australia. Well, we're a continent. And in those 40 years, it's always been engaged in supporting charities as we can. It's a way of giving back when we're living here as guests of Ghana. But this year we decided to step it up and have a new initiative and really seek to raise a substantial amount of money for charity. And we're going to do it through a diplomatic charity fashion ball.
That's interesting, but that's not to say you haven't done anything. You just want to be more conspicuous this time, right? Akofa, you're working with a team. Tell us how this fashion gala is going to look like. Who are those involved, and how much are you hoping to raise at the end of the day?
Well, we really were ambitious with our efforts because we, as a collective, realized that, we have a good network of people. We've got the diplomatic community and the Ghanaian community, and let's bring them together for benefit of others. Our focus really is SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals for health and for education. So we're focused on raising ambitiously 250,000 Ghana cedis at least, for the benefit of 5 select charities in the first instance, Thankfully, we've beaten our goal at this point in time, thanks to our sponsors and our friends and supporters. And we're going to then distribute as needed after the event.
All right.
And so it's a night of glitz and glamour with working in collaboration with the African Fashion Foundation as well, who have 7 designers that they work with here in Ghana who will be showcasing their fantastic designs on the night alongside our international designer for this year, a Moroccan designer, which Robert can tell you more about.
Right, Robert, this international designer, what should we know about that designer?
Well, let me say a few things. I'll start with the Moroccan designer. She's a fabulous designer called Hasha, and she has her brand Burda. She lives in Ghana at the moment, and she is using that experience to develop the themes of her work. So when you see her collection, it's a blend of Ghana, Morocco, but actually the broader West Africa. It's a very interesting approach to fashion. And all of the designers are doing innovative things. I am a very passionate photographer, and I've had the opportunity to photograph designers and fashion around the world. And I've had the opportunity now to see all of the collections that the designers are preparing for this weekend's gala. I'm so impressed. I mean, the level of innovation is incredible. The level of excellence of the design from the Ghanaian designers is incredible. And we're very fortunate to work with African Fashion Foundation, whose mission is to support and promote Ghanaian fashion. And in addition to our primary objective of raising money for charity, we have this strong objective of ourselves trying to promote and help young Ghanaian artists.
That's impressive because, I mean, at the level at which you're taking it, it's early days, yes, Akofa, but do you hope that this will probably translate into a bigger fashion festival? You know,
well, you never know. Let's see how Saturday goes, and let's see what the feedback is from our guests. We're expecting about 250 people for a sit-down meal. We can't be more thankful for the generosity of our sponsors, who've the reason we've been able to do all of this. Firstly, starting with the Kempinski Hotel Gold Coast Accra. I mean, they've been absolutely fantastic with their support and giving us the ballroom for the night and plated service for our guests. Amazing support for these charities who are the final beneficiaries of this. We've got to thank the Mohinani Group of companies, MTN, Japan Motors, Meridian Apartments, and Don Emilio, Johnny Walker, and Bank of Africa. Without their support and their belief in us as volunteers for this, we couldn't have put on this show on Saturday. What will happen in the future is we hope that we are going to continue to use our privilege and our skill set and knowledge of Ghana to benefit those the most vulnerable amongst us. And that's going to continue to be our goal, no matter what shape and form this fashion gala takes.
There are many ways to raise funds, but why did you settle on a fashion gala?
So, I think, I mean, we've done many different activities in the past, and the inspiration simply came from having seen some young Ghanaian fashion. And as a group, we meet regularly. We meet at least once a month, and we're talking about this is incredible innovation in design coming out of Accra. What can we do to support it? So we thought, well, we can harness this for our efforts to raise money. And the Kempinski Hotel, I mean, as soon as we raised the idea with them, very, very generously came in and offered us like everything, the location, everything. So that really makes the task of raising substantial money for charity much easier.
Fantastic. So, Akofa, I heard you speak about 250 guests. I'm sure it's limited seating, probably by invitation. But if there's somebody watching us, somebody who believes in supporting the most vulnerable, they may like to work with your association, probably in the future. How do they get in touch with you? Are you open to working with, organizations that, you know, do these kind of things? Yeah, basically.
I mean, yes, I think that what we wanted to do with this event, because it's unique for us, and first time we have raised funds to this amount, is to take heed of how the event goes and how much we can give to charities, and then see where future support can lie, and also what we can do, like you said, in collaboration with other organizations in Ghana. Right now we don't have per se an organization or you know, a headquarters or anything, but I'd urge anyone who would like to get in touch and learn more, potentially call through your lines, and then you can forward the details to us in the first instance. We're just absolutely thankful for the support we've had up to date, and we're excited about Saturday.
All right. Robert, anything you'd like to add to that?
I might just add that, of course, people can help the charities directly. And the charities that we're going to support out of this particular event are incredibly worthy. So I'm going to read them out just to make sure I get all the titles correct. But Aburi Pressy Primary Library Creation. So they're, sorry. Autism and Intellectual Development Difference Network, Intervention Network. Breast Care International, their Ghana chapter. Hope for Africa, and the Orthopaedic Training Centre. And they're all dear to us. The Orthopaedic Training Centre is really dear to me. When you see the help that they give to disabled children and have been doing it for so many decades, it's incredibly worthy. So we're very, very proud to be able to help them, and everyone can help them, in fact.
Right. Fantastic. And just in a bit of you being a passionate photographer, do you do it professionally? It's just a hobby?
No, I do it professionally as an art. And this is not my first time photographing fashion in Ghana, but I must say I'm just so impressed. Just so impressed with the quality of the designers and the professionalism. It's really been an incredible experience. And I photograph fashion in Europe, elsewhere in Africa, Australia, etc. And the standard is high.
Well, thank you so much for being in Ghana, and thank you most importantly for making an impact. All the best on Saturday.
Thank you.
That program will be hosted by our very own Doreen Andor, and hopefully we'll see pictures online, right? For those those who cannot be there, we'll get to enjoy the fashion. I'm looking forward to seeing the beautiful designs you spoke about. So my mind is just wondering, okay, what is it? Are these abstract designs? You know, what exactly is it that is exciting, Mr. Owen? So hopefully we can see the photos, right?
I know you want to wrap up, but you can absolutely see the photos, and I've already taken about 300 professional photos of the fashion. One of the great things to say is real diversity between the different designers and the way that they approach fashion. And there's a common theme. I can see that none of it is fast fashion. All of it is very bespoke, mindful fashion. I don't want to single out any particular designer. I will mention that we have one designer, Elisha Boy, who does upcycling. Everything's made from found objects in the environment, plastic or pre-loved clothing, but when you see his designs, they're incredible. Really, really impressive from Ghana.
Thank you so much. And once again, we wish you all the best on Saturday. I have been speaking to Akofa Wale's Diplomatic Fashion Gala Committee member and Mr. Richard Owens. He's spouse of the Australian High Commissioner to Ghana, and they've been telling us about this wonderful idea they have as the spouses of heads of missions in Ghana international organizations, putting together this fashion gala, night of glitz, glamour, beauty, one that will allow even our artists to express themselves. It's an opportunity for Ghanaian designers to showcase their talents that they have. So this is also to support charities here in Ghana, most importantly, and they have just given us the wonderful idea of doing so even as individuals. So why not? Think about it as an organization, as an individual. You can support a charity today. But if you're looking for anywhere to put in your support, We know what's happening in parts of the Volta eastern regions, and here we're collecting, food items, grains, anything you have that can support our brothers and sisters in the affected communities due to the dam spillage is most welcome. And so you can reach our offices, you can drop your items, toiletries, anything, water. We just need to get them help while we can. You're watching the AM show. I'll be back with more. Do stay. Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. And when you hear that song, you know we are all about the National Science and Maths Quiz. We're still at the quarterfinal stage. Yesterday, the contests were interesting. I remember that one particularly between Osei Tutu and Opokuwari Senior High School. It was left to the last question for the winner to be determined. Today promises to be also exciting. I'll be telling you the schools that I'll be competing. But you know that, as always, we are helped by some generous organizations to bring you the live coverage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. And this morning I've been joined by Retail Manager of Royal Foam, Richard Edujemfi. Royal Foam is one of our new sponsors. Hello, Mr. Edujemfi. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning.
Right. So, the National Science and Maths Quiz has been on for about 30 years. Tell me about Royal Foam. When you decided to join the National Science and Maths Quiz and why?
Thank you. My name is Richard Edujemfi, Retail Manager, as you rightly said, for Royal Foam Ghana Limited. The management of Royal Foam Ghana Limited feel obliged to share in this responsibility to equip our youth to learn, research, and then come up with solutions and reach up to the heights, the highest heights that we never even ventured to go. We feel it's our duty to help them because of this age, we are in this age of artificial intelligence, and you need to give them that scientific basis before they will be able to achieve.
Fantastic. So how long have you been a part of the NSMQ?
We joined a couple of years ago.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for helping us do this. But tell us more about what Royal Foam has on offer. What sets you apart on the market?
Yeah, as I said in my interlude, we feel we are part of the whole show, and we have products that we have put on the market. Before I go there, National Science and Maths competition is the competition that will always have our support.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Yeah, Royal Foam is a wholly Ghanaian company which was established in 2013. After discovering a unique formula, we have been manufacturing high quality foam products for our customers. We all know how it feels when your mattress sinks or sags when you sleep on it, and the feeling when you wake up, or how it feels when you spend a lot of money on a quote-unquote nice sofa, only to discover after a couple of weeks that you've been tricked. You are trickable. Or worse still, to find out that you really didn't have that spine problem, but your mattress gave you that feeling. Ghanaians have labored a lot, and it will surprise you, they found solace in buying used mattresses. They didn't care where they came from, whether they came from the prisons or the hospitals or all those horrible places I don't want to mention. I'm delighted to introduce to you Royal Foam's high density HHD mattresses. They are firm, they are smooth, and they will take care of your backbone. Our unique formula, together with our quilted material covering, makes our HHD mattresses stand out among the rest. They do not sink, they do not shrink after several years of usage. In fact, they are so firm that your weight is evenly distributed when you sleep on it. And then you wake up rejuvenated. For customers who don't want their mattresses so hard, we have the high density
Okay.
The HD range 2.
Okay.
That is comfy, plush, and takes care of your pressure points. They are also covered with quilted material. In short, Royal Foam has all you need in a mattress and more. Our elders say Sumia margin. So Royal Foam has added pillows to the mattresses you buy from us.
Okay.
When you buy a double-size mattress, we give you 2 free pillows. When you buy a queen-size mattress, we give you 3 free pillows. When you buy king-size mattress, we give you 3 free pillows. And this is for parents. We have a package for students. When you buy a student mattress, we have them in 5 inches, 4 inches, and 3 inches. And they are all covered with Macintosh leather. When you buy one, you get 1 pillow free of charge. And our prices will surprise you. They are cool. No wonder we won a lot of awards just as we started. I can't list them all. The latest is a gold award in the 19th Ashanti Business Excellence Award, organized under the auspices of Otumfuo II.
Okay.
We won the same gold award during the 16th version of it. And we have a lot of awards from our corporate social responsibilities. Royal Foam is the best for you.
Fantastic. Yeah, a well-painted picture about what Royal Foam has on offer for you. So if you're a parent whose child will be going to high school, if you're looking for a mattress to buy, Royal Foam is the option for you. They will give you a free pillow in addition. So, I mean, you're using a stone to kill 2 birds there. But where can we locate your offices? Where can we find you across the country?
We are scattered all around. In Kumasi, where our head office is, we are at Asokore Mampong. We have a magnificent showroom. Asokore Mampong is about 6-7 minutes drive from KNUST. We are located in the Braka, around the traffic light at Mr. Biggs.
Okay.
We are at Ashama Runabout. We are at Mataheko opposite Melcom. We are at Doina opposite the Methodist Junction. We are in Sunyani. We are in Techimai.
Oh, wow. You're in a
Yes.
lot of places.
Yes. Yes. And you can contact us on our main line, 020-227-1000. That is 020-227-1000. Or my personal number, 050-922-5927.
Can you say that again, please?
050-922-5927. That's
Fantastic. So we usually find out from our guests if their schools are still participating in the contest. Is your school still in there?
Yes.
Prempeh College?
Prempeh College.
Okay.
How did you get
Well,
that?
my guess, I have a very instinctive mind. So, so Prempeh College is in there. Last year, you almost had it. So, I mean, any message you'd like to send to your boys?
Yes.
You competed last night.
Yes.
And you won.
Yes.
Okay, so you are into the semi-finals.
With a huge margin.
Yeah. Any message to the Prempeh boys?
Yeah, we are all for them. We are praying for them. They should be strong. They will do it again.
Right. Any special packages for the contest from Royal Foam?
Just as I told you already, we have free pillows going out for all the mattresses you buy.
Right.
The king, queen, and the double. And then we have free pillows for the student mattresses. Yeah, that is what we have for now.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning. That is Richard Edujemfi, he's retail manager of Royal Foam and old student of Prempeh College. Royal Foam is happily sponsoring this year's edition of the NSMP. Mr. Edujemfi has said that they are happy to extend this relationship for a very, very long time. So thank you so much to Royal Foam. So if you're looking for a mattress to buy, Royal Foam is the option, and they say rest assured. They've got the high density, which is the HHD. They've got the high density for you as well. They've got it in all the sizes: students mattress, double size, queen size, king size, whatever you want. Just give Royal Foam a call, and then they will sort you out, right? So I'll be back to talk more about the National Science and Maths quiz and those who are helping us bring you the live coverage. Do stay. Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. When it comes to the National Science and Maths Quiz, it's all excitement when we talk about the schools competing, who the likely winner could be, and all that. And I must say that we're able to bring you the live coverage of the NSMQ because of the gracious help of our sponsors, one of them being DBS Industries Limited. I've been joined this morning, once again, James Kwekusenu is Sales and Marketing Manager, DBS Industries Limited. He's to my immediate left, and Kelvin Muzaya is General Manager, Sales and Customer Service, DBS Industries Limited. You're welcome, gentlemen. I just want to let all of you know why I had such a big smile on my face when we came in, because Kelvin's school is still in the competition, and that's Presec Legon,
yes.
And they are hoping to make it the 8th.
Yes, our God is great.
Well, we've got our fingers crossed. We'll see how because Presec is competing today, you know that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the last contest for today. So when we finish, I'll give you the opportunity to send a message to your boys. Hopefully they don't disappoint you. But let's talk about DBS Industries Limited. You've been giving us wonderful, quality, colorful roof sheets, trusses, and then you recently introduced the concrete products into the mix. So for somebody who is hearing DBS for the first time, do you mind telling us what DBS is about and what you have on offer?
So, good morning. I just want to wish all listeners and audience a very good morning. And for DBS, is becoming a one-stop shop house. When we talk of roofing and concrete, we have it all. So for the roofing, we have the molding self-lock. We have the IBR, which is the inverted box rip. We have IDT, which is the industrial deep trough. We have shingles, and we have Euro tiles. Euro tiles is an alu-zinc material which has an alu-zinc base with a stone coat finish. So aside the roofing, we have steel trusses. So one who has white steel trusses, I think it's a material which is made of light steel. So in that case, it doesn't exert much weight on your building, and it has water and fire resistance. And finally, we have our concrete products, being the blocks, being the pavement blocks, being the ready-mix concrete. Yeah.
And that's for people who are doing really, really large projects who need the concrete, sent to their site and all that.
Sure.
But let me find out from you, Kelvin. The NSMQ has been running for 30 years, and as far as I can remember, at least with our live coverage of it, DBS has supported us. Why is DBS interested in the NSMQ?
First of all, thank you for having me. So the NSMQ is, I think, is one of the huge things that, it gets the interest of all Ghanaians. It's kind of like the Black Stars play.
I get it.
Yes. It's like when that period comes around, everybody is watching, everybody is interested, especially when your school is also competing. Then there's events, and it's nice, giving these kids the platform and the coverage to show what they can do and what their schools are also about.
Yeah, and talking about the platform, you don't want to underestimate what this does for many of the students. I can talk about, the young girl, her name just escaped me, who was part of the contestants for Catasco last year. Lamini, I think that's her surname. Francisca, thank you so much. And she is studying abroad as a result of your help together with the other sponsors, and we're projecting her on the screens. Hitherto, you would see the NSMQ after the event because it will be broadcast, when the event was over, and then sometimes those timely interventions didn't come. So you're perfectly right. It's such a huge platform, and so we can't say thank you enough to DBS and all of you who make it possible for us to bring the live broadcast. But there are special discounts from your company. And sometimes when we say these things, you think that it was just for the fun of it. You may just want to give them a call. They'll be putting their numbers out shortly, and you would experience what I'm talking about. But what are the special offerings this year? Any special NSMQ tailored discounts or packages for our audience?
Yeah, I think we are doing something more than a discount. We are probably wrapping up the year, so we are running a reduction sales on all our products.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's huge. It's more than a discount, because
Okay.
probably when you are talking of discounts, we'll be talking about 5%, which I think is very minimal. So we are doing a reduction sales.
Okay, if you're building a house, working on a project, you need concrete material, you need trusses, you need roofing materials. DBS Limited is the company to call. They're doing a reduction sales here. James says that they are wrapping up the year. It's October. We are almost done, so we need to wrap it up all quickly. But I'd just like for you to share your contact details. Anybody who'd like to call. Do you do payment plans and packages? Someone may be working on a huge project and may say that I may not have all the money up front. Do you allow for, installment payment and all those kind of things?
Actually, we don't do payment plan, but we have a lot of packages when one would like to roof or buy new products, would like to come on board, have a personal chat with us, then we can introduce you to some of the packages that we have on board for you.
Okay, please throw in the numbers and how we can contact you.
Okay.
Okay. 0244 84 4444. 0244 84 4444. And we also have a toll-free number that is 0800 62 62 62. 0800 62 62 62. So yes, you can contact us on any of these numbers, and yes.
Fantastic. Where are you located, though? I mean, if
Yes.
someone wants to walk into your offices instead of calling you, where can we find your
Okay,
office?
so we're on the Spintex Road, right next to Papaye. Spintex Road, right next to Papaye, and we also have a branch at Sapeman. That's close to the China Mall.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So outside the Sapima brand, we are also in Kumasi, which is 050-600-4242. Then we have a branch in Takrady as well. So their contact is 050-600-4141. So you can contact us. So we have branch also at Sunyani and Tamale as well.
All right, across the country they are. And Kelvin Muzais, General Manager, Sales and Customer Service, DBS Industries Limited. He's to my far left. And James Kwau Senu is Sales and Marketing Manager at DBS Industries Limited. And Kelvin's school will be contesting much later today. That's Presec Legon. They are defending champions. I don't know if Kelvin decided to wear this blue because it's it's on purpose, Because I was thinking to myself, no, this guy wore this blue because it fits the Presec Legon color, pepe. But I'm just giving you the opportunity, right? Your boys want to make it the 8th trophy. You're the leaders on the chart, right? Let's see if any school can upset you this year. But what would the message to your boys?
Oh, they should just keep doing what they are doing. A lot of people are tired of us winning, but we cannot be tired of winning ourselves.
But did you watch your last contest, though?
Yes.
It was quite tight.
It was quite tight, but when you start off like that, it's just about getting your groove and then, getting warmed up. So
honestly, was there any point you felt like? Because I was watching and at a point I was like, this may be tough for Presec.
Yeah, after the problem of the day,
yeah,
I think they got 4 out of 10. I was like, that had me raising my eyebrows, but I know the boys will perform today.
All right, let's see how it goes much later today. Let me run you through the contests of the day. We have Tamale SHS, St. Augustine's College, and Keta SHS. This one is a good one because Keta SHTS has shown that they are a force to reckon with again in this year's competition. In fact, scoring one of the highest points, 70. And so we'll see how that one goes between St. Augustine's College, Tamale SHS, and Keta SHTS. Then the next one will be between Kumasi Sektech and Yilo Krobo SHS and Infantipim School. Then we will have GSTS, Accra Academy, and Presec Legon. This one looks to me like it's going to be an Accra Presec thing. everybody will try to prove their dominance. But this is the station to be on today as we bring you the live coverage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Once again, let me say a very big thank you to DBS Industries Limited for helping us bring you the live coverage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. I'll be back with more. Do stay.